you know that there is a Buddhist republic in Europe? Well, now you know. Welcome to Kalmykia. Today, I'm in the capital city, Elista. Join me on an adventure as I explore the region, the Republic of Kalmykia. The building which you saw right there is the Golden Abode of the Buddha. It was built in 2005. In fact, Kalmykia lost a lot of its cultural heritage in the 1930s due to various Soviet policies, and most of the monasteries and temples were destroyed in the region, just like elsewhere in the country. But you can see that they've rebuilt it now. Another terrible thing that happened in Kalmykia's history is the deportation in 1943 of the Kalmyk people. They were accused of collaborating with the advancing German armies at the time. But in fact, there were more Kalmyks fighting in the Red Army than on the Nazi side. Many people died during that deportation to Siberia, but however, after Stalin's death, they were allowed to return. The Kalmyk people came to this area nearly 400 years ago. Originally, they were known as the Oirat, the people of the forest. They came initially from Mongolia, and they arrived to this fairly deserted area, the steppe, in what is now southern Russia. In fact, this area is still quite isolated. The way I got here actually is by a plane from Moscow. But there's only 2 flights a week from Moscow, so it's still very isolated. Here's a few fun facts about the region. Apparently the Kalmyk language was the inspiration for the Ewok language that George Lucas used in Star Wars. That's a cute little fact. And here's a slightly less cute one. Elista, the capital city, was the original outbreak spot of the Soviet AIDS epidemic in 1988. So, as you can see, the region has had a very tumultuous history. Ethno Cafe Bistro. Let's see what they got in the Ethno Cafe. Got a few Buddhist little flags on the entry. That's a good start. Seems traditional. So far, very classic Soviet atmosphere, except you got a picture of the Dalai Lama here. That's pretty unusual for a Soviet canteen style event. Here we've got the Oirat soup, named after the ancient name of the Kalmyks. Very good. Here we've got Elista's monuments to all of its soldiers who died in the different wars. So here we've got the traditional Soviet World War II memorial for those who died between 1941 and 1945. And here we've got a more interesting one, a slightly more unusual one that you don't see all the time. So these are the soldiers who died in the war in Afghanistan during the Soviet intervention, and during the war in Chechnya, actually, in the first Chechen war and the second one that happened in around the year 2000. This here is the eternal flame, which commemorates the sacrifice of all the soldiers. Here we've got what looks like a Red Army soldier with the helmet with the star. Perhaps a woman, an older man, another soldier probably from the Russian Civil War by the looks of it. It's a hat, not a helmet, I guess, and an old wise man. This is the White Old Man, the Lord of the universe and the patron of all living things on earth. Here we've got the pagoda of the 7 Buddhas, which represents the different reincarnations of the Buddha throughout the centuries, hence 7 of them. And the pointed rooftop represents departing from samsara, which is the circle of reincarnations and all the struggles throughout life, and reaching nirvana, which means attaining peace within one's soul. But the best part about this pagoda actually is that it's located on Lenin Square. See? Vladimir Lenin in the distance, overlooking this beautiful pagoda. And you can't get more Russian than this. You know, classic regional culture plus a bit of Soviet stuff. Doesn't get any better than that. And here we've got a huge drum, which was gifted, I believe, by Indian monks. Here, we've got Granddaddy Lenin himself watching over the pagoda, making sure people don't get too religious. Another universal feature of Russian cities is the great poet Alexander Pushkin. So, aside from Lenin, you've always got this guy pretty much everywhere you go as well. Here he is. I'm getting pretty hungry, so let's go and discover restaurant Uralan, which means good luck in Kalmyk. I'm at the restaurant, but I'm not sure I'm going to survive this meal. Let's look at what I've ordered. So, fried lamb testicles. It looks pretty nice. Looks like some kind of chicken nugget style thing. And next dish is fried camel with potatoes. And I've ordered something relatively normal as a side, I think, like some bread as well. But I could have ordered a lamb head. I didn't go that far because I don't think I would survive a lamb head all alone. But let's see what happens to me after I eat the other stuff. I'm gonna eat some camel. Let's see how this tastes. I've never had camel before in my whole life. It's actually very tasty. Kind of chewy, but very tasty. Honestly, I can't even describe it. It's kind of like beef, but in better somehow, I'd say. Very good. Damn testicles. Gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the lamb testicles. I mean, it's edible, but the camel was really good though, so I have to say, if you're ever in Kalmykia, get the camel. Don't get the balls, get the camel. Yeah, I don't feel too hot after those lamb testicles. Time to go home and get some sleep. Did you know that Kalmykia, at least specifically, is the capital of chess on this planet? In fact, we're in Chess City right now, an area of listed that was built by Kirsan Ilumjinov, the former regional president of the Republic and also the former president of the World Chess Federation. He had a very large passion for chess, which he wanted to share with everyone, so he got all of the children in all of the Kalmyk schools to study chess. The statue right behind me is Ostap Bender, the main character from a famous Soviet movie called The 12 Chairs, who was basically a scammer who went on a lot of adventures, but was also a chess champion. But that's the only thing left here in Chess City that reminds you of chess at the moment, because everything else is under construction, unfortunately. But Mr. Ilumjinov, you gotta get back into power and you gotta bring back chess. Alright, I'm in full Kalmyk attire. I'm in the middle of the steppe. It's nighttime. And I'm here to make an offering to the gods of the steppe, the night gods. Apparently the night gods request milk, candy, and my favorite food, which is these little croutons. Alright guys, you can't see me, but it's time to give the steppe gods an offering. Here's the offering. Milk, candy, Soviet batonchiki, very tasty, and some rye breads, kind of like chips. And now we're about to do the ceremony. And there you light a candle, like we did just now. And here you write your wish, and then you burn it. Alright guys, we're hunting for treasure in the steppe. Let's see if there's something. I think I just found something here. Yeah. There we go. 15 centimeters. Let's dig with our shovel. Digging for treasure. I'm a rich man. I found some, God knows what this is actually, but I found like 4 or 5 of these. Apparently there used to be a village here in the area, so. Time to go even deeper into Kalmykia. Alright, we're on our way to Yergeninsky now. We saw a list that time to see small town Kalmykia, maybe meet some locals even, if I'm lucky. Интересный город или что?
Экзотическое, да, для
Да, да, ну просто да, это очень сложно поверить, что я все еще в Европе.
Одни узкоглазые вокруг, да? Как это так? Тысячами голов там овец, коров держали. Ну сейчас, блин, развал, когда произошел, ничего не осталось.
Apparently this part of the road is under surveillance by drones. That's what one of the signs over there just said. But we don't see any here. So apparently in Kalmyk food, I need to try something called dotur, which is the mix of intestines and other various things. But also, according to my driver, lamb testicles are not at all a traditional dish here. So I guess I just got scammed by the restaurant.
Даже степь, мы живем как бы за счет степи. Чтобы степь, нужна вода, дождик должен.
То есть дождик это праздник?
Это праздник.
Kalmykia. So we're in Yergeninsky, guys. Welcome to a small Kalmyk town. About an hour away from Elista, basically in the middle of nowhere. Let's see what we can find here. The индюшки.
Да, да, да.
Turkeys are just running around. And goats. Это что? Это бараны, да? Овечки, да? There's a lot of animals here in this town.
Козлы. Да, козлы.
Yeah, little goats. Welcome to small town Kalmykia. This road isn't as good as the highway we were on just now, but here you can see a Buddhist stupa. It's closed territory, but I can film from behind the fence. And there's even some stupa here, and then there's some goats or cattle in the distance. Lots of animals, lots of farmland. Seems like a traditional little town. See if we can meet some locals maybe. Very deserted little village, I have to say. There's like one car in the distance. Yeah, there's nobody outside really. I don't know if we're gonna be able to meet any Kalmyks, but hey, we'll try. Little dogs. Let's see if they're nice or not. Or the Kalmyk doggo is gonna be nice to me. Very good boy. Good little boy. Mendut. Okay, not the friendliest locals I've ever seen in my life, I have to say, but I just said hi to the old lady. She didn't seem too happy to strike up a conversation. But that's what it is. Not always lucky when you travel. People don't always want to interact, but see, maybe someone else is going to be a little friendlier. The driver was telling me that a lot of people left all these small villages in the 90s. And most people have moved to places like Elista. Elista is the way you pronounce it in Russian and Kalmyk. And so everything's abandoned now. See, there's an abandoned house right here. Let's check out an abandoned Kalmyk house. Let's see what's happening in here. Looks like it would have been a pretty cool bathtub back in the day. Jacuzzi or something, but it's all abandoned now. People used to have large herds of animals, cattle, cows and everything. It used to be a fairly prosperous part of the country apparently, but then since the 90s everything fell apart, like basically in the rest of the country, and there's not many people left anymore, and there's just many abandoned buildings and such everywhere you go now. Oh, lots of cow shit though. Apparently there's still some cows left in Kalmykia. Alright guys, I can't really show you any Kalmyk people that I can interact with because there's literally no one here. But here's a Kalmyk cow. You're friendly cow? I won't get too close to it, but this is life out in the steppe. The beautiful, great steppe. The origin of the Russian and other peoples originated here in the steppe regions. Scythians and other various ancient peoples originated here, and then various civilizations developed and spread in the area. But nowadays it's all very, very empty. This is the edge of the village, basically just steppe, pretty much deserted. Very arid fields for miles and miles and miles. Here's an old Soviet bus stop with a mosaic. Look at this. Traditional Kalmyk warrior. Maybe even two of them. A flower of some sort. And a musician. I think he's holding a musical instrument, this man. Yeah, you find some pretty curious stuff. Oh wow. Some more mosaics. Some traditional instruments. Find some pretty curious stuff out here in the steppe in the middle of nowhere. Right by small town Kalmykia. Oh look, someone wants to say hi to us. You know, doggo. Хороший. 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 Just sit them. Just sit them. Doggo. Time to explore one last Buddhist temple before we leave Kalmykia. This is Sum, the Guardian Temple, which was built in 1996. It was the first Buddhist place of worship that opened in the 90s following Stalin's purges against religious buildings in the 1920s. So this is basically the revival of the Buddhist culture here in Kalmykia. I think this is where the monks live, since this is a monastery technically. Got their little garden, but I can't actually see any monks for now. Damn, even the monastery is deserted in Kalmykia. No matter where you go, the village, the monastery, there's just no one. Can't seem to find any people to talk to here. What do you do when you can't find a single person to talk to anywhere for your video? I tried a village, I tried a monastery, can't find anyone. But you can go to somewhere where people are paid to talk to you, which is a tourist attraction here. Ethnopark Seren, museum complex, Kalmyk food, and all kinds of other touristy stuff. Миндут. Я Маранбент.
Ямуга? Где-то хорошо научились по-калмыцки?
Я только несколько слов выучил. Совсем чуть-чуть. Ерсян.
Ерсян.
Okay, so curious thing, people can be friendly here, but they don't want to be on film. That's something understood about Kalmykia.
Можно даже примерить, если есть желание. Как вы на это смотрите?
Да?
Да, вполне.
Конечно, да. Было бы интересно.
Какой вы сговорчивый, да? Сейчас, давайте. А вы пока чувствуете себя.
Интересно.
Монголов, да?
This is a shaman's yurt.
Смели. Просто я вас не хочу там ставить, я понимаю, что там душновато немножко, чтобы обзор сняли.
This is a traditional shaman's dress. Some masks to ward off evil. Some skins and wolves.
Ну как бы?
Time to say goodbye to Kalmykia and go even further south.